I'm developing malware, the import address table of a portable executable is my worst enemy. It gives away all of my intentions before it's ever executed. So, how are Windows APIs called without actually putting into the import address table? Stay tuned, because I'm going to show you how dynamic API hashing works. We're going to go through an example of CreateThread, how it's found, and it would never show up in your import address table. Stay tuned.
As I mentioned in the opener, malware developers' worst enemy can be the import address table. For example, we have a PE file with its import address table intact. You'll get a good idea of what functionality or capabilities that binary loads. So, for example, if we see that we have a function in the import address table of RegCreateKeyEx being imported, we'll know that PE file or binary has the ability to modify the registry. Malware developers want to make static analysis as hard as possible, and by simply looking at the IAT, import address table, the malware analyst will be able to go through and get a good idea. But this is where matching based upon dynamic API hashing comes into play. In this example, what you see on the screen is some C++ code. What this is doing is, and we're going to be using CreateThread from the Kernel32.dll file as our example. We're going to be using it to perform dynamic API resolution by hash. So let's take a look at what this program has that I created. We have a get hash from string. This is a custom-made hashing algorithm that, and you'll want to be aware of that when you roll your own hashing algorithms, you might be worried about collisions and so forth. So that is something to take into effect. But we basically provided a string, in this instance, CreateThread. It'll return a hash based upon this hashing algorithm. Next one is get function address by hash. This is a manual but stealthy replacement for get proc address. The normal get proc address finds a function's address using its name. This function will find it using the hash. To find the actual memory address of a function within the Kernel32.dll, this will just find it based upon the hash. And so we take a look at this, and this is basically loading the library of Kernel32.dll. We're doing some PE header parsing, basically looking through that table of contents at the beginning of Kernel32. We're then going to read this portion right here, is reading the export table to get pointers to basically those three parallel arrays that make up the export address table of Kernel32.dll. We have the address of names. The address of names is a list of all the function names, so CreateThread, CreateFile, A. Address of functions is a list of the function addresses. And finally, address of name ordinals is a lookup table that links the name array to the function array. We're basically going to go ahead and use a search loop that will loop through every single function exported by the DLL in that export address table. For the function name, we're going to need to get the hash of that function name. We then will compare it to whether or not it meets our CreateThread hash. If not, it'll continue. Otherwise, it'll set the address to what we want it to be, and it'll return that function address. Now, with regards to the custom CreateThread, what we're doing here is just telling the compiler what the CreateThread function looks like. It's not a function, it's a type. So think of int or a char pointer. The next thing that we're taking a look at here is I needed to pass within this CreateThread here, I needed to pass it a myThread payload, which I just using a payload in to do this. So instead of having null, which was what this would have been, I'm passing it this message box so that it'll pop up. We know it's successful, and we'll also know it's successful by printing out the address of CreateThread. All right, so let me go ahead, API hashing.cpp. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild it. We're going to go ahead and compile. We've succeeded, and now we have this API hashing right here. If we double click on it, we get the API hashing successful, the sudo up and hack demo. Okay, we found the CreateThread, and we have the virtual address, and so we have a successful execution of this program. Alrighty, so what we did here is brought that binary, we're taking a look at it and dropping it in to see if the import address table includes CreateThread. That was the whole reason that we were trying to get around it, was so that on static analysis, our import address table would not include CreateThread. So we see here, it's portable executable 32, Visual C++ 8.0, modified, accessed, today's date of recording of November 18th. And for our moment of truth, let's take a look at the import address table. And let's see here. If we take a look at Kernel32, we're taking a look here. Make sure that CreateThread is not one of them. And as we can see, we do not have CreateThread in our import address table. The import address table is free from CreateThread since we're dynamically resolving it using hashing. And so in this video, we explored what malware developers do when it comes to import address tables. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you are enjoying this content, and make sure to check out the next video that you'll be presented here. Thank you.